maybe I should complicate this before I start speaking here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Comics League Live. This is an emergency stream because last night, out of nowhere, this Hollywood reporter comes out. Yeah, this Hollywood reporter article comes out that basically says, as the title of the stream indicates, we're getting a Man of Steel 2 finally.
Get it right. It's not called Man of Steel 2. According to Sil Abdullah Mikey Sutton, it's just called Superman.
All right, well, the point is, it's a Superman movie. We're getting a Superman movie, which is astounding that we've only now gotten a Superman movie since 2013.
Yes.
And I just want to mention this. Bendis gone, Dido gone, Hamada gone. This is a great time for DC fans.
Those Hamada beggars are gone.
Oh yeah, I also love how this article basically says, yeah, Hamada's cleaning out his desk. He's gone. And I'm like, yes, yes, savage. Just absolutely savage.
I was making a video about this just now.
Oh wow.
Literally within the last 10 minutes.
It is unbelievable. PK Shade says BVS will always be Man of Steel 2 to me, and the upcoming movie will be Man of Steel 3. Fair enough. But the point is, we're getting a Superman solo movie. So let's be thankful for that, because that alone is huge. And we also got confirmation in that article that we were right all the time. It was Hamada that was standing in the way of getting another Superman movie.
He also screwed up Justice League.
What?
It was Hamada actually interfering with Black Adam.
Oh yeah, to quote,
really?
Yeah, because The Rock came to Hamada before this and said, "Hey, I want to have Superman in here," and then Hamada said no, and then The Rock went over Hamada's head. It's like he's like, "No, we need to have Superman in the universe, dude."
No, but what also to mention is that he did the rock bottom. He did the rock bottom. He did either the rock bottom or gave him the people's elbow. And said,
so you could
hey,
say that he's gonna be working the rock pile.
Yeah.
But so not only that, there's like so much in this article. Like first off, it confirmed it doesn't say that the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman movie is done, which I think it will be done. They're just waiting for final confirmation. So there's that.
If Zaslav can write off Batgirl's attacks right off, there's a good chance he's going to write this off too.
Plus, he's not exactly J.J. Abrams' biggest fan. So
yeah,
yeah. We also got confirmed, and actually some pretty cool stuff. The Batman's being expanded, where we're getting a Clayface movie, Scarecrow movie, and a Professor Pig movie. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. At least, and when it's confirmed, we're getting the Batman 2, surprising no one.
Is it real? Can you really make a movie out of Professor Pig? I mean, I can barely see Scarecrow.
I know. I'm like, well, if anyone can, Matt Reeves can, and he does seem like a character that would fit in that universe. But what's amazing is apparently The Rock just saved the DCEU. I cannot emphasize that enough. Hey, Tevye, what's up? It's so Dwayne The Rock Johnson just saved the universe, dude.
And it's not only that, guys. Not only that, but I was just watching Super Sons today. I know Terry is in the chat. I just watched Super
Sons. Why?
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I have to watch it because I'm gonna be on Tevye's stream talking about it.
Oh, yeah, I've already seen it. So
I've already seen it.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, Master Sergeant. I count The Rock because he's been working for 6 years to get that. Think about it this way: he fought for 7 years to get that 20 seconds at the end of Black Adam in there.
That's why I just gave the go-ahead.
Yeah, because exactly. So I think really did my review for Flash 787 was fantastic. The Flash has always had really great comics, so it's really not a surprise to me. So
the Wally West Flash comics were better.
Oh yeah, that's true. Also Flash 2.
Yeah.
That script was written. So I'm like, okay. So they're really
It has
putting
potential.
what?
It has potential.
It has potential. Were it not for Zaslav one after the merger, Johnson would still. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, he does have a point that, but let me put it this way. I don't think that I think honestly that Zaslav may not have been as aware of how wanted Henry Cavill specifically was as Superman. He would have just recast a Superman because he would have had Hamada in his ear going, okay, so they weren't really a big fan of that. Now
It's happening.
yeah, I still can't believe we're getting a Man of Steel 2. That is unbelievable. Plus, Chris McCormick's script, and I've heard the guy talk about Superman, and I'm like, okay, I trust this guy.
And I've been seeing a lot of fan art going around with
No,
Henry
but
Cavill Superman pinned up with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Yes,
well, I'm
I don't know. If
because that shit makes sense. That's why. We've had this conversation on the show a lot. I'm sorry, Toledo, what were you going to say?
I'm just currently in the stages of editing a thumbnail just for the video I just made,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm finding it difficult, right? What to put as the background, right?
Yeah.
And it's literally hard because everywhere I see is Henry Cavill Superman on Google Images when you just type in Man of Steel 2.
And by the way,
Everywhere.
it's heavy. We talked about this. It's pretty much going to be dead and buried. Let's face it. That Superman movie is going away. Anything J.J. Abrams, I think, is gone. And Master Sergeant, I doubt Zaslav knew the money was Cavill. How could he see that Batfleck was money but not Cavill? That is a good point. That is a good point.
Here's the thing. Cavill was always the moneymaker.
Mhm.
That was always going to be inevitable. As Thanos will say, I am inevitable.
Yeah.
Right? And he literally, Zaslav has snapped Hamada out of existence of the DC brand.
Mhm.
Right? And the
who was
way
the
we
woman
see
who made the Wonder Woman movies? I can't remember.
Patty
her
Patty
name.
Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins, thank you. The less said about 84, the better. I kind of don't want a Wonder Woman's 3 after that. Not gonna lie.
Hang on. Let's give her a chance to redeem herself. If Wonder Woman 3 sucks, then yeah, she should be gone. But let's give her, because every filmmaker has one bad movie, except for Zack Snyder.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah. So Brown Destroyer says, let's all celebrate when Walter Hamada is finally gone, which is going to be this week. And Zack Snyder will be back after finishing his Netflix projects. Yeah, both of those are going to happen. So we might as well just start celebrating now. We may as well say we should be thanked along with Johnson because we wanted Cal. Yes, we should give ourselves a pat on the back, guys, because we gave the demand. Because remember when The Rock had that San Diego Comic-Con thing where he shows up and he goes, it depends on who is Superman. So when I'm seeing that, I'm like, I think that was intentional for him to show the executives you can't replace Superman.
You can't.
You can't replace Cavill as Superman. I'm sorry, and you can't. First off, you can't replace Superman because guess what? It's because Supergirl, as known as she is, and oh yeah, Master Sergeant, I'm not doubting that at all. He was the key, but as well known as Supergirl may be, and she has gotten more popular because of the show, she's never going to be on the Superman level. I'm also curious what's going to happen with the Flash. Let me put it this way: if he's guilty, guess what's going to happen? They'll do Wally West Flash in Flash 2. That's the easiest fix. And by the way, Chad Snyderverse, nice background. Yes, DC is back, baby. Let me put it this way: I haven't been this jazzed up about DC since the Snyder Cut was announced.
Chad Snyderverse, by the way, a big shout out goes out to you, bro. We're getting what we want. If you haven't checked it out yet on my Twitter, I'm making a video. I've just made a video just recently. I'm editing that up right now. You better subscribe to my YouTube page because that video will be going out about new DC. Get that hashtag trending.
Yeah, and you know what? This is what the minority in the Snyderverse community that only wants Snyder don't understand. This is the step to get, because what was the one thing that the least likely thing was that we were going to get Affleck and Cavill back. Guess what we got? Affleck and Cavill back. Now it's
We
way
got
more
Punk.
likely that it's way easier to for Snyder to at least, because we know it's not going to be the same story when he comes back. But we know that it's easier for him to create something if he still has his actors. That's the easy part. Yeah, I 100% agree with the point. Yes, exactly. Do not boycott the Black Adam, because if that movie fails, which I don't think it will, if this movie fails, they will reboot, recast everyone, and nothing will cut. And it's a self-sabotaging prophecy. And yes, we would all be for Wally West.
I'm excited though because I get not only this week not only is it DC week, it's bloody Black Adam and flipping Gotham Knight.
Gotham Knights, baby. I pre-ordered that, so I'm so pumped to play that.
Yeah, I'm already pumped. It's 2 days. But yeah, I did see that. Charles Roven.
Yeah, baby. He produced Man of Steel 1, baby.
Man of Steel, BVS. You know, you've got the guy who basically did the Dark Knight trilogy to produce Man of Steel 2. You got me hyped up already. Come on.
Everything is here except for Zack, which that's going to come soon. So I'm like, okay, we're good. We're back. Well, again, I haven't been this jazzed up about DC films since the Snyder Cut got announced.
Yes, and you know what's also gonna be, you know what we're gonna say, guys?
Mm-hmm.
I also gonna say is the fact that because Charles Roven is back, I reckon we're gonna get a Brainiac. And
yeah. Oh, and also, Matt Stojan makes a good point. I think Hamada is a scapegoat, just like haters scapegoated Snyder. Hamada was denied Affleck and Cavill, blame Berg, Johns. Yes, all these people are to blame, but let me put it this way. Hamada was... Yeah, it's a Sinister Six. They literally are the Sinister Six. But here's the problem. It was ultimately Hamada, because when you look at this dude's decision-making track record, you have like the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman movie. Because let me put it this way. He was the head of DC Films. He could have said he could have authorized all this stuff. But guess what? He didn't. So I blame him. Honestly, Battle of Super Sons was personally my movie I was excited for all year. I'm so happy this movie was amazing. Yeah, I'm excited. It looks good. I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to probably have it done by today. But also, Tevye, this makes it more likely we make it a John Kent movie. I'm just putting that out there.
Don't get him started.
No, maybe not a movie, but he could appear in a Man of Steel movie as a baby.
You're going to get him started. No, dude, you're getting him started. Come on.
I'm trying to get people hyped up because anything is possible now, dude.
I know, but you'll get him worked, excited for Jonathan Kent, even though we just had Jonathan Kent in an animation film. Now he'll be like, oh, now there's a chance for Jonathan Kent in the movies. And he'll be like, I'm going to be with this clarification clear. I don't we're going to get Jonathan Kent maybe till Man of Steel 3 or Superman 3 or whatever, right?
All right.
And I'm not going to go
the douchey 7.
That's catchy.
Yeah, that works. No, but it works. It's very accurate. I'm sorry, Jay, what were you saying?
I was saying, based on what I've seen from the Super Sons movie, I would not be surprised we got a deceased adaptation from what I've seen.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Bryan Cranston is Brainiac. I could see that.
I've been calling that. Didn't I call that?
Yeah, you did. You did call that. I could also see the Brainiac actor from Krypton, because I thought he was pretty good as Brainiac. And remember, Krypton was supposed to be a prequel to Man of Steel. They even used the Superman S from Man of Steel in there. So it's, let me put it this way, literally anything could happen right about now. They could just say, we're going to restore this. They could legit say they're going to restore the Snyderverse now, because literally anything could happen now.
Literally.
And it's crazy how we got to this point where in one day, everything like changed completely.
We waited 7 years for this.
Yeah, I know. We had to wait 7 years for a Superman movie. Superman
announcement.
Yeah. We had to wait 7 years to know if a Superman movie was going to be made think about that. This is the character that started DC Comics, and we had to wait almost a decade for a Man of Steel 2.
Arguably comics in general.
Arguably comics in general, but my point is specifically, here's why it's even more stupid that DC didn't push for this.
You know what you just started? You know what you just created, Jared?
What?
A monster. You've just created a
Oh,
monster.
no.
You've got Tevia talking about John Ken. You got him talking about it.
Yeah, technically 10 years because Man of Steel 2 was released. Man of Steel was released in 2013. Yeah, so 10 years. But that's my thing here, because here's the thing, and this article legit calls out Hamada for trying to for being anti-Snyder, because it says that the reason why he wanted to not use Henry Cavill was because he wanted to go completely away from anything Snyder made, and that he wanted to essentially go away from the time when one filmmaker had like all this influence. So it calls out him for having a clear anti-Snyder bias. So I'm like, this article was very brutal on Hamada, which I loved.
And this is all I'm going to say about Hamada: Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
That's all you have to say about that. That's all you have to say.
That's all that needs to be said.
And how we undermine the release of Joker. Yeah, it's crazy. This dude has had one failure after another. Now the thing is, how soon do you think it is until we get an announcement that Ray Fisher's back as Cyborg? Because he said
no, it's not. That's not going to happen for a while.
Well, because all I'm saying is that the reason why I'm saying that is because he said Hamada's the one dude I won't work on anything that Hamada's involved in. But by the way, I like to see a better title. Man of Steel worked for character development. With that completion being forced to squeeze into BVS, he is now Superman. Yeah, they didn't say it's called Man of Steel 2. They said it's basically a Man of Steel 2, so it's probably going to be a Superman movie. Because when you think about it, ever since like Superman Returns, we haven't gotten a movie labeled Superman, and that's a problem there.
But
we haven't had
probably Brainiac, I would say.
Oh, that's easy. That's good.
Oh yeah, it'll make 800 million. It'll make 800 million. If someone, let me put it this way: now that they leaked that Henry Cavill is going to be in this movie, yeah, I could definitely see it making at least 800 million. And Tevia says, yeah, Hamada being anti-Snyder just felt petty and stupid and makes no sense to me. But given his track record, it shouldn't surprise me. Someone legitimately said that, like before the Snyder Cut was announced, this person was talking to someone in Warner Brothers and like outlining like, here's how the Snyder Cut could be brought back. He laid out all these reasons, and then the contact says, yeah, that's fine. You lay out a good argument. What you have to understand is that these people don't think with logic.
They don't even think from a business standpoint. It's just pure. The previous regime was just pure ego.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Yes.
They didn't want to admit that they screwed up with Justice League 2017. And guess what? Now, think about it this way. The Rock is saying they screwed up. They're saying essentially that old regime made a lot of mistakes. That's part of what made the Snyder. If you want to believe that the Snyderverse community is toxic, let's go off of that. The reason why I got to that point is because you pretty much had the executive saying, "Oh no, it wasn't a mistake. Everything is good. Everything's fine now." You're just toxic fans.
MSGT, that's the working title right now. Just calling it Superman. That's the working title. So it won't be called Man of Steel 2.
Yeah, and they're going to keep it simple, Tevia, with just Superman.
I really think they need to get a Green Lantern movie because, come on, if you actually focus on Green Lantern in the Space Odyssey aspect, 2011 tried to keep it grounded as just a basic origin film. Why would you use Parallax in the first? You know what? The less I say about that movie, the better.
I agree with you on that because everyone that sees the Green Lantern movie is like, yeah, the space part was the best part. They should have just focused on that. By the way, DC fans to The Rock, this man is not our enemy. If you guys watch Man of Steel, you know that
enemy.
That is an act. Yeah, this. honestly, I would be okay if The Rock somehow ran DC films. I'd be like, okay with that. The sad thing
No,
is that
no. It's Boss Lady. Get it? It's Boss Lady. Danny
yeah,
Garcia.
yeah.
Should be the perfect choice.
Which I'm fine with it. If she authorized if she pushed for all this, I'm good with that. The sad thing is that Justice League 2017 could have worked if they let Snyder finish the story. Well, here's the thing. There's someone that keeps posting on my videos that the Nightmare timeline is going to come off of the Justice League line, and I'm like, okay, the whole point of Justice League was they wanted to move away from Snyder. They're not doing anything Snyder in Justice League. No, it's going to be Superman. That's they could do Superman subtitle like Superman Brainiac or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be just called
Son of
Superman.
Krypton taken?
What?
Is Superman Last Son of Krypton taken?
No.
Or is that trademarked in any way?
Here's the thing. If they decide to bring in Supergirl into the Superman into this Superman project, calling it the Last Son of Krypton is kind of going to be undermined.
True, but it would make a great Public Enemy adaptation. True.
That would definitely work. But I still think what they should do is that in the new Superman movie, they use Brainiac. And the way they explain Supergirl is, she left Krypton, then her ship was intercepted by Brainiac, and she was like mind controlled, because we know Brainiac has the capacity to mind control people. And then he uses her against Superman. Yeah, they shouldn't have. But once again, remember, these people were trying to create another MCU, and you can't, because here's the thing. The MCU did not start intending to build an MCU. They started off intending to make great movies, and then they decided, let's connect them. And technically, Superman, Batman, Apocalypse could have been adapted into a movie. Yes, with Darkseid now in the universe, if they go with the Snyder cut as canon, which I think honestly they're going to use the Zack Snyder's Justice League as the canon Justice League. With Darkseid canon now, I think that they could very well do that, because they have all the characters pretty much, and that's a good introduction of Big Barda and the Furies.
Now, who was the woman cast who played Big Barda in the Snyder Cut? Because that was a great casting.
She wasn't. First off, that wasn't Big Barda. That was Granny Goodness, and I'm not sure who that actress is. Last Son of Krypton means Superman is the last one who was born on Krypton, not the last Kryptonian. Yeah, but the general audience is not gonna connect that. They're just gonna think he's the last Kryptonian. Snyder knew that Warner Brother ordered the impossible in the time space they allowed. That's why BVS theatrical cut was butchered for time, and why the Zack Snyder's Justice League was 4 hours long. They would have ruined Justice League. Yeah, that's what they would have done, because they wanted it exactly 2 hours, which is stupid, because no MCU movie is exactly 2 hours, as far as I know. That's the first.
Even if you factor previews and the post credits scene, you're looking at 2.5, maybe 2:45.
Yeah, and the thing is, you could cut the Snyder cut into at least 2.5 to 3 hours, and it's fine. But the reason why it was 4 hours is because no one expected that we get a continuation. So it's really like, here's everything Snyder wanted. That's why whenever people criticize it for being 4 hours long, I'm like, but there's a very specific reason why it's 4 hours. And yeah, Apocalypse would be a fantastic storyline to introduce Supergirl in, and that would be a great World's Finest movie. So now, all right. So now, let me go around to the panel. Who do you think is going to? Who would you want to see as the villain in a Man of Steel 2? I'll start with Taladia.
I would like to see. What was the question?
Who would you want to see as the antagonist in a Man of Steel 2?
Antagonist means enemy, right?
Yeah, the enemy.
I think Brainiac is an obvious choice at this point.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I can see that.
All right. Or we can take it more, if you want to really expand the audience for more younger children, we can go with Mr. Missopidally. Get crazy with it.
Yeah, that would be a very trippy movie. Oh, geez. A fourth dimensional imp. I'm just gonna put my ban on it. Yeah, the fourth dimensional imp. That would be That'd be quite a trip. But yeah, I could see Pitalik, but I think that since the Snyderverse is very like grounded, I don't think they would use a fourth dimensional imp that has reality altering powers.
If we can get away with Scarlet Witch, we can get away with Mr. Mixopedalit for like a one-off film. Come on.
True. Okay. With me, I could see them doing Bizarro Superman.
Didn't they technically do a
Yes.
Doomsday Bizarro hybrid?
Potentially.
But they didn't do Bizarro because what they could do with Bizarro is that they could establish that after Superman died, the government got a little bit of Superman's DNA and then wanted to create their own Superman in case Superman went evil. Because we know that after Superman died, there were all these different methods in case these superheroes went evil, like the Suicide Squad and such.
Okay.
Superman versus
Yeah.
Gus Gorman. Oh, Paris. Here's one. Parasite. Or Mongol. They could do Mongol and make, but I think Mongol's too close to Darkseid for them to do. So that's the only thing. Parasite they could pretty much do. Or they could do Superboy content. I think right now the only one that they would introduce is Supergirl in a Man of Steel movie because they've already cast her. And
and Lex Luthor hasn't really done anything since BVS. Let's dial back Connor Kent for at least a few more years.
Yeah, because you need Lex Luthor to be established in order for Connor Kent to be a thing. That's the point there. And plus, the best time to introduce Connor Kent has already gone because we did the Death and Return of Superman. So that's the main point there. But with me also, I would probably, if I couldn't do Brainiac or Bizarro Superman, a good villain would probably be Metallo because they already have sort of the inner work. They already have like a few of the characters that created Metallo in the universe already. So that's easy because actually, I believe in the original script for BVS, Metallo was supposed to be a villain.
Huh.
Which actually would be pretty cool. Oh, here's one. PK Shade says Intergang. And that's interesting because Intergang is going to be the villain organization in Black Adam. So we're getting Intergang. I would also like Metallo. Yeah, because I think a villain that's powered by kryptonite, that would actually be pretty dope, particularly for the Snyderverse. Or they could also use Cyborg Superman.
Wouldn't that we fall into the same Connor Kent situation?
No, because guess what? It's easier this way because Darkseid exists in the universe.
Oh, you're pulling the Decamu. I see.
Yep, do the Decamu. There you go. That's all. That's what you have to. Because the beginning of the movie could be the space shuttle crash, and then and then you have like a brief scene with Darkseid grabbing the body. And then you all of a sudden have this cyborg Superman going around trying to undermine Earth's defenses. There you go. Then we can get more like Man of Steel style fights.
True, but I don't think they need to do that. I think what they need to focus on is larger characters, bigger characters that can grasp people's attention.
True.
I would retcon the death of Robin and say that was Jason Todd and Dick simply faked his death.
Yeah, that's what they could do, 100%, and I agree with you on that one. I feel like when Zack comes back, that's one of the elements that's going to change because he knows that that's one of the points that the fans really didn't like was that being Dick Grayson. Because they could easily, because let me put it this way, when I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, it's Jason Todd, it's Dick Grayson, but there was a Nightwing movie just authorized. So how are you going to do that? And how are you going to have Dick Grayson be Nightwing if he's dead? So Crime Corgi says, I believe Chris McQuarrie should get the job if Zack doesn't come back. Henry Cavill and Chris work well. Plus, when you hear him talk about Superman, the dude understands the character. So if Zack didn't come back to direct Man of Steel 2, I'd be totally fine with Chris McQuarrie directing and writing it. Totally fine. Plus, remember, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Would you be content with the Snyderverse continuing in animation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As long as it continues, I'm totally. Even if they said we're going to continue it as a comic book, I'd be like, oh, that because imagine the Elseworld story if they just did Zack's original story, but as an Elseworlds comic book.
Mhm.
Dude, that would be so freaking dope. I would buy the crap. I would buy every single edition, all the trades, all the floppies, all the on the buy. That's it. I'm in.
I've
But,
already said this. I
mhm.
said this. I've said this time after time again to people. If you want a Superman flick, you guys have to support Black Adam. You
Yes,
guys have you guys have to support other various medias.
yeah, you still have to because guess what? Let's say Black Adam bombs, which it's not going to. They're going to reboot the universe and wipe everything clean completely. This is Warner Brothers trying to salvage what they have. Plus, Warner is already doing Elseworld storylines. So first off, it is conceivable that they could have Zack come back and just say, just do your original movies and you're good to go. Well, like I said before, BVS or Zack Snyder's Justice League never confirmed in story who the dead Robin is. Zack could have planned it to be Dick Grayson, but the change is still there. Yeah, I mean, it does say Dick Grayson on a tombstone, but they could always go in and like change that.
They can change
Yeah.
that.
So it's really it's not impossible for him to have Robin show up and then do it under the because I'm convinced a great Ben Affleck Batman sequel would be Under the Red Hood. And then
Definitely.
Master Sergeant says, I'm not particularly that iteration of Batman. I'm not typically an animation fan, but at least allowing Snyder to finish a story arc like what we saw in Teen Titans Go to be mid. Yeah, if it's in the animation style of Teen Titans Go in that one clip, yes, please. If Zack did Man of Steel 2, I think the opening will recap Zack Snyder's Justice League final battle and Steppenwolf's death. And I think that would be the movie where because I think that to justify a lot of the changes in like suits and everything, I think that what they'll do is they could have a scene where Man of Steel 2 is Superman deciding to go back to the red and blue. In other words, he starts off in the black suit, he does something, and the people now fully accept him, and he's like, okay, it's time to go back. And that's how they can justify the new suit. Because as we know, that was one of the points that to restore the Snyderverse community, the vocal minority on the thing we're freaking out about is that he's not in the black suit. So it's like, all right.
But where would the continuity lie? Because we kind of lost 6 years because of the whole Justice League debacle.
That's the other thing too. This movie, Black Adam, is taking place like at least 6 years. I believe it's taking place after Justice League. So at that point, it's taking place after Justice League, which is so time has passed. So if we take Zack Snyder's Justice League as canon, there's plenty of time for him to change the suit. Agree, so we don't have arguments over. Yeah, there's no reason. This is what I tell people: Cavill being in the blue and red suit does not mean they're not going to canonize Zack Snyder's Justice League. In no way does it mean that whatsoever.
And like I said on the last stream when I was on your show, was just like it was only for a short period of time in the comics where Superman was in the black suit.
Yes.
And Zack said when he comes back, Zack said he made a whole new whiteboard. So it could be just in one movie. Done. Really simple. Yeah, the Supergirl movie is dead. Supergirl movie is going to be dead and buried.
Yeah, Supergirl's movie is already done. That's been changed into the Superman film with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I was about to say they're gonna have her be a side character in Superman if she shows up at all. That's really it. Because apparently, so two things: we have that she meets Cavill in the Flash, and then they're both referenced in Blue Beetle. So we know that they're both going to exist, which is what they should have done from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's really astounding that they were going to replace Superman with Supergirl. It really is stupid. So moving on, and just want to remind you, everyone, that this is going to be a really packed live stream weekend because we're going to be, first off, Saturday night when we get back from seeing Black Adam, you'll get our fresh, spoiler-rific thoughts on Black Adam.
There will be spoilers.
There will be
So-
spoilers. I'm not. If I'm doing a live stream on this, I'm not doing a spoiler-free live stream. Nope. There was an abandoned plot of Man of Steel 2 where Brainiac creates Bizarro to take the codex from Superman, Supergirl back in 2015. Rumor. Interesting. That could have been a
They
good.
might salvage that.
What?
They might salvage that. You never know. Anything is possible.
Yeah, you really never know. Anything at this point is possible. And here's the big thing: nothing would surprise me at this point. I mean, look at what's happened in the past couple of years. The Snyder Cut gets announced. Warner Brothers is sold to Zaslav, who proceeds to cancel literally anything he wants. And then we get a Henry Cavill's Man of Steel 2 with something no one thought was going to happen. Speaking of Blue Beetle, I'm sorry, what?
Would you say Young Justice was canceled? Young Justice just didn't get renewed.
It didn't get renewed. Speaking of Blue Beetle, that reminds me, I'm hoping the movie isn't the movie's going to happen. Blue Beetle's coming out. Yeah, that's happening. Won't be able to see Black Adam until next week, damn it. All right, well, you can still come on. Well, we're definitely going to be talking about the Henry Cavill cameo because that's already been spoiled. I try to see Black Adam with my friends over the weekend too, provided I'm not too sick. Oh, well, hopefully you're not. But so let's see. Now let me ask you guys this: which character of Black Adam are you most looking forward to seeing? Mine is either Dr. Fate or Hawkman.
Both Dr. Fate and Hawkman.
Yeah.
But would this even count as a spoiler? If you go off the trailers, it's very likely Hawkman's gonna die. They even make a joke about it in the final trailer.
Yeah, I think so. So Master Sergeant says, "Oh, purchasing Warner Brothers has helped us. AT&T gave us Snyder Cut, Discoveries, restoring the Snyderverse." Yep. Exactly my thoughts. Because when you think about it, enough is happening to at least indicate that they're pushing us in that direction because they're bringing back Zack's versions of these characters. Well, like this way, we got Batfleck back. Just let that sink in real quick. Someone said, I will probably see Black Adam in theaters as well during the weekend. Great. The JSA, yeah, that's actually really cool. And I'm looking forward to seeing I knew I was about to say, yeah, you're joking. But I'm looking forward because Dwayne did say that he wants to see like the JSA interact with the JLA. And I think that'd be really cool. And then minus Dr. Fate. Yeah, Dr. Fate just looks so good. And he's so perfectly cast. Like,
perfect.
Wow. There's always that one time when like someone's cast in a role and you're like, well, I could do better. I cannot do better than Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Cannot, absolutely not.
You can't match up.
No. You absolutely cannot. That is Dr. Fate. It's like how it's like how Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Yeah, he's Dr. Fate. What?
Matt Reeves. No, not Matt Reeves. The other guy who played Constantine. Matt Ryan, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Him as Constantine. Although I'm excited for Keanu Reeves to play Constantine again, and apparently that's supposed to be in the DCEU. So what that's confirming to me is that Constantine 1 is in the DCEU because it's a sequel and it's in the DCEU. Now that's interesting.
Well, it could be a Incredible Hulk 08 situation where it's a soft reboot from the Hulk 2003 film.
Could be. Well, I hope it's not that, because that was a very interesting situation there. Now, all right, so let's see. We also, the article also indicates that we're going to get a Black Adam versus Superman movie, which here's the thing about that. I saw that coming because really of the characters established now since we killed Doomsday, there's no other character that could give Superman a legitimate fight than this Black Adam.
True.
Because that's always the problem with Superman movies is that you have to have a villain that could yes Medina, it's happening. Superman lives, baby. He's back. I need that clip from the Snyder Cut of Wonder Woman going, he's back.
No. What you need is that Superman opening the doors from Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah, him reemerging. Yeah, I'm going to get that. I will get that. At the end of this, I'll get that because we're probably going to play that for the Black Adam. Wait a minute. I just realized that. What does it mean for Superman and Lois show? Because in no way does this affect that show, which probably that show was going to end after like 1 or 2 more seasons. But Cavill coming back is not going to affect it.
Because you got to remember, Cavill returning won't be for another couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention this last week. The bad embargo 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was a crime.
Yeah, that was a crime.
I forgot to bring that up.
Because yeah, that is a crime. Because here's the thing. Let's look at Smallville. My complaint about the Smallville show is that's supposed to be about Superman, but Wonder Woman and Batman don't show up in that show, at least as Diana Prince and Bruce Wayne, considering they're his best friends. And you don't have them show up, and you have like the D-tier characters showing up. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've always felt, no, we already had a drama-focused storyline. That was Man of Steel and BVS.
It's kind of small when you think about it.
Yeah, and also Hamada.
And also Hamada. Right now, Superman, and this was always the plan for Man of Steel. Man of Steel has to establish that this is the Superman you know, because he's gone through that death and resurrection arc. This is this. You have to have like essentially. I could see it being like Superman for all seasons or All-Star Superman. They have to do something like that to establish that this is the Superman everyone knows. Maybe even give a detective angle. Well, no, they're not crime detectives. They're reporters. There's a difference. That would be a Batman movie. I wonder if Man of Steel 2 is going to... No, it's not going to be... This is not going to be Black Adam v Superman. It's going to be its own movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the point there. Yeah, exactly. They can't be crime detectives. And plus, you can't focus too much on the journalist part because then it's just going to be boring in a Superman movie if all they're doing is journalist work.
Now, have either of you read the World War III storyline from the early 2000s?
No, I haven't.
Look it up. That would make a great Black Adam sequel.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Black Adam World War III. Let me see what that is. That is... Let me see that. So it's World War III. All right. Eventually, the combined force of Jason... Oh, so it's basically Black Adam versus the DC universe.
Basically.
That would work. That would be super dope, particularly since Black Adam, since Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did indicate that he wants to have like a battle movie between like Black Adam, the JSA, and the JLA. That would be cool if they adapted that, if they did that.
But we do know one thing.
What?
Is that this movie that Black Adam is sorry, The Rock wants between Superman and Black Adam is probably already in motion.
Oh yeah. I'm sure that pretty much anything involving Superman, as soon as he saw, first off, I was right. Cavill has a new contract. There's no way he was going to come back for just a cameo, and I guarantee you, they're already like, well, let's do this. And it doesn't have to have a Batman S2, and to use a Hamlet comparison, Batman would have to be. Well, they're not going to do a detective story for Superman. That's just not Superman. They're not going to do a journal. That would be cool, but they're not going to do it because that would get boring really fast for a Superman movie. And
if there was a World Finest story, maybe if you took like a detective noir approach, but it would get boring very quickly.
Yeah, Suicide Squad versus Black Adam, Superman Shazam versus Black Adam. Yeah, there's any one of those things could be fantastic, sequel ideas. And I think Clark and Lois being reporters and trying to investigate a mystery similar to Superman and Lois and Clark series that did of John Kent as a child would be fun. But they're not going to do that. Yeah, but that would interfere with the main plot because let's say Superman is fighting Brainiac, and all of a sudden he goes to investigate a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're trying to say, dude, but it wouldn't work for the main audience.
No,
because we have to think about, yes, we would love it because we're all comic book fans, and that would be really cool. But the general, we have to think about the general normie audience that when they see Superman, they want to see Superman punching something. That's it. That has to be the movie. That's why Superman versus Black Adam would work. It's going to work fantastically because it's just Superman and Black Adam fighting and maybe teaming up. Because I could see that ending with them actually ending in a draw and them having like a mutual respect for each other.
Now you know what would be a good movie idea?
What?
Batman versus the Demon. Like a full on bout between Batman and Ra's al Ghul, and then you have the baby Damien in the post credit at the very end.
Yeah, you're making Tavio mouthwater there.
Yeah, you're playing with fire. You're playing with fire there.
You're playing with fire. Yeah. But that would be pretty cool. I agree with you on that one. And true. And plus, the last time we tried that in the comics was a horrible, but event Leviathan that turned out very badly and very boring. In other words, a Bendis event. You don't even have to say horrible Bendis event because there's no good Bendis DC events.
Not in the last 10 years, no.
Yeah. Just gonna say that. So exactly. You're playing with fire here.
I told you, J-Heat, you're playing with fire.
Yeah, you mentioned Super Sons 3 times. Remember last stream where all you had to do is say the word Super Sons and Tevia appears in the chat. That's all you have to do. But dude, again, this is an exciting time to be a DC fan because literally because we were wondering what are they gonna like, when are we gonna have an indication of like what movies are coming out, because now this is all Warner Bros. Discovery. We're beyond like they're just releasing movies that the previous regime authorized. No, this is Discovery.
Oh, breaking news.
What?
I know it's kind of off topic, but Gotham Knights just released its recommended settings for PC.
Well, it doesn't affect me because I'm on console.
Okay. Just thought mention it out there.
That's cool. It's our and also this weekend I'll be playing Call of Duty since I pre-ordered it on digital. I get the campaign a week early.
A week early?
Yeah, they said that if you pre-ordered it on digital, which I did, you get to play the campaign a week early.
Lucky guy. You lucky guy.
Modern Warfare 2, baby. But anyway, back to what I was doing. PC gamer here. What are the specs?
Who wants to know?
PK.
Okay, so recommended settings are Windows 10 64-bit, CPU Intel i7 10th generation 700K or Ryzen 5 5600X, RAM 16 gig, GPU is an RTX 2070 or a Radeon RX 5700 XT.
Dennis, that's a good idea, but it's a little convoluted if you try to cram the lowest B plot, because you can't have Kara's debut and invest in a pseudo crime investigation. It would be hard to pull off. It would be a very delicate.
If this were Snyder cut length, yeah, you could do that. But like this way, the Snyder cut's gonna be the only DC movie, really, I think, that's gonna be 4 hours long. That's it. If it were if this movie is gonna be 4 hours long, fine. But you can't fit this in. It's probably gonna be Brainiac and Kara. That's it. And since Blade got delayed, Ironheart is competing against Aquaman 2 for the fall and winter, and Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man 3 versus Flash, and Shazam 2.
Wait, I thought Ironheart was dropped.
Well, I think what they mean is could they mean oh yeah, because oh yeah, but yeah, I thought they were because I think they're making weren't they making a Disney Plus series for Ironheart?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
They are. I think Brainiac should be a character that's hinted at for a couple of movies before popping up. Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. And then But I feel like what they'll do, but they're not going to do this because, again, they're not going to fit Kara and Intergang, and they're not going to do the B. They're not going to have an A and B plot. It's not going to be an A and B plot. They're just going to have one plot because that's too much to fit in about a 2-hour movie. What they'll but what they could do is have Supergirl show up, and then we can see like flashbacks of what she was doing throughout all these different movies, and then Clark shows her the ropes of being on Earth. You get a little bit of the fish out of water that we kind of got in Wonder Woman, and then just go from that. And I don't want to see DC get into the habit of the MCU of one-offing big villains. No, they cannot do that. Do not do that. They only did that just to actually they did do that for like the first couple of movies, but that's because I'm sorry, Toledo. What did you say?
That was the old regime. They're not going to compete with MCU anymore. They already know that they won. Simple as. DC already knows they won now. Simple as.
Well,
no, it's funny you say that, Cole, because Zack said that if he brought in Hal Jordan, there would be Ryan Reynolds.
I am very grateful to Deadpool in Canada.
Yeah. Man of Steel 2, straightforward with Brainiac Invasion of Bizarro sent by Brainiac, or Terminator Metallo using the remains of the wheelchair, dude. Yeah, that could work really well, actually. Speaking of Man of Steel 2, that reminds you, which writer do you want for Superman 2? Because, I really like the writer who understands Superman. Like, no. Do not have any comic book people touch this. Because the last time we had that, we had Jeff Johns, and guess what happened with that? Wonder Woman 1984. Do not have that.
It'll be Charles Roven producing, and I reckon it'll be someone like, I don't know, maybe
Chris McCormick?
Maybe Chris McCormick, yeah.
Now, Jeff Johns is great on the page, but when it comes to adapting to a film script,
I agree with him here. Don't put David Goyer on Man of Steel 2, because a lot of the issues with Man of Steel 2
oh God, no,
were from David Goyer.
You mean Man of Steel, not Man of Steel 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, exactly, because a lot of the legitimate criticism people have for Man of Steel 2 is from David Goyer's writing. Do not do that. You need someone that actually is competent at writing superhero movies. And for the most part, David Goyer has proven to be the opposite. Which is sad because he's a fantastic writer for original sci-fi. But let me ask you guys this. Let's say, so who would you want to direct a Man of Steel 2, assuming we can't have Zack? Which we could have him, but assuming we can't have, assuming Zack Snyder is not an option.
I think, well, Christopher Cole, he'll be too busy doing what's it called, Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I would say George Miller, or who did the Mad Max Fury Roads.
Can you imagine if they also announced we're going to make Justice League Mortal?
Yeah.
That would be dope. Imagine that's one of the Justice League movies. They're like, okay, we're finally going to do this, but with these actors. Let's do it.
Maybe bringing back Chris Nolan. That would be pretty good.
Hey, Nolan doing that actually would be really good. What about you, Jay Heat?
No one's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
No one's a very good pick.
Oh, here's one. After Kara helps Clark fight Metallo, built by Lex Luthor, Lois asked her what happened to Argo. Yeah. And she tells him we call him Brainiac. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. How about one of the directors of The Boys? If we did Injustice, probably, but actually, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. And actually, Chris McGuire or Doug Liman of Edge of Tomorrow, I could see that. And I would Christopher Nolan to get a shot at directing Man of Steel 2, but not for him. Maybe, I don't know, Jon Favreau. That's actually not a bad choice, Jon Favreau. That could work. Seeing as though what he did on Iron Man, I'm like, yeah.
He's still contract under Disney, but
Mortals could follow the Snyderverse community continuity actually pretty well. Assuming that, because we know that Zack wants to do a new storyline because he wrote the new boards. So he could very well do that. This raises another question. What are we going to do about Lex Luthor? Heard anything? I don't know what they'll do with Lex Luthor, but they could. What they could do is JL 2, maybe, as they build up to Justice League 2, they could have in like a post-credit scene. Like, you guys know how, like, in the MCU, they had, like, basically S.H.I.E.L.D. assembling the Avengers. At the end of every post-credit scene, assuming they don't go with the killing off villains at the end of the first movie, they could go around and have him recruiting villains for the Legion. And Master Sergeant said Nolan won't do it. It was his manuscript. That is true. It was partly his script that Superman fans freaked out over. That is
criminally worse for Quest for Peace, because that's the worst comic book movie ever made.
Yeah, don't do no. I mean, you didn't enjoy Superman throwing a bunch of nukes into the sun? And they can introduce Lex by having him recruit Black Adam. Black Adam's not going to work with the Legion of Doom. He's not going to take orders from it. No, he's not going to do that. Nolan could do the Question. That would be dope. Ooh. That would be dope, actually.
Which question? Which question? That is the question.
I mean, for casting, people hated Eisenberg. Yeah, but that was more of the writing, not necessarily Jesse Eisenberg. So they could redeem Jesse Eisenberg. Hell, the Snyder Cut redeemed the Joker. And or did David Fincher for the Question. Once again, which question? And Tevye says, I had no idea it was Nolan's script. Well, it was Goya's script, but it was also Nolan's direction. So
I could actually see a buddy cop, Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, and Hawkgirl movie.
Dude, that would slap, dude. That would actually work, because they said they want to bring in Hawkgirl. I'm convinced. Oh, Vic Sage Question. Yeah, I could see that. And and I want Hawkgirl in there because I want to have a scene where you have the Justice League assembled, and it's like, because you have Martian Manhunter in this universe now, so all you need is Hawkgirl, and you pretty much have the lineup.
Well, you have Barry Allen instead of Wally West Flash, but yeah,
but
true.
But you know what? This is the biggest question. You know
what?
It is, if they're gonna do a Superman flick, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be done, let's say 2024, 2025. Are they going to do a Superman game, which is releasing?
Let's talk about that for a second, because that is a good question. Because how deep do we go with this? Could they do first, I want to answer this question. Do you think they'll use Snyder Martian Manhunter? Yes, because I think that at this point they're leaning more toward making the Snyder Cut the canon Justice League. Which, if they do that, then yeah, they're going to use that's what I mean. Whenever I refer to Justice League, they're going to use we're going to use the Snyder Cut. But I would be fine with them adapting Scott Snyder's Justice League run in the team, because that'd be seriously awesome and badass. I agree. And you notice how a lot of the best Justice League storylines are written by someone named Snyder. I'm just going to leave that out there in the ether. Guy Ritchie directing Hellblazer. That would actually be really cool.
Ooh. But here's my take. I actually to see a full-blown League of Assassins movie, like Origin, all through human history.
And what they could do, they could make that a Talia movie. Can you imagine Talia interacting with Ben Affleck Batman?
No, but
I thought you hated Bruce and Talia.
Wait,
no.
But you skipped past my question though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Talia. Go ahead.
Which was the Superman game, right? I think is gonna happen. I really do think that. I think it's time. Because like if there is a Superman movie in the works, I think that it's gonna happen. I think WB Montreal are gonna be the team to do it.
Yeah,
right?
And I think what they could do to answer Medina, it doesn't have to be an RPG or a Telltale game. What they could do, like, to handle the power levels, and I always say what you want about Superman Returns. The game did it perfectly, because the health system was the SETI. In other words, your health was the damage to the actual metropolis.
Yeah.
So that's how they can handle the like ridiculous power levels and invulnerability of Superman.
Oh boy, we got Tevye talking about Super Sons again.
Yeah, how did you know that? A Superman God of War game actually it doesn't sound that bad, dude. A God of War style Superman. Well, let me put it this way: I don't see them do, because here's the thing, Tavia. Yeah, the movie they do have a Super Sons movie, but the main John Kent, until they de-age John Kent. Oh, by the way, he didn't murder Zod. It's not Man who murdered Zod, because he didn't murder Zod. Zod was going to kill a family, so Superman had to end that threat right now. Can't wait until we see Black Adam killing less people than Supes did. Superman didn't kill the people. That was him fighting someone that had military training and all of his powers. And yes, he did, because how do you think they ended up in space?
There was a lot of collateral damage in that fight looking back.
There was, but Superman tried repeatedly to get it out of the city, but guess who kicked him back into the city? Zod, because he knew he wanted Superman distracted. I'm just going to tell you right there, you got to watch the movie again. He did. Zod brought it right back. Yeah, you have to watch the movie again in order to properly understand it. Killing it as in a last resort doesn't make it murder, and even Superman has only killed one guy. Exactly. Pa Kent insisting he should have. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. You have to watch that scene, because what he said, because yes, he did start with that. But when you watch the later scene, he literally tells Clark, you're going to have to make a choice. He's basically leaving it up to Clark. Do what you want. I'm just telling you, it's up to your choice. You can't really go by what I want you to do. And plus, think about it this way. And Perry White legit says this. Can you imagine the way people are going to react if they know someone with this power level walks among them? That's it. That's all it's going to happen. Maybe is an indication he should have. Okay. Man, you're complaining about Man of Steel. Okay. Not only in Injustice. Have you seen the DCAU where he's punching people through buildings? This is the live action version of that. I'm just going to tell you right there.
Oh, I remember that episode.
Yeah, but when Pa Kent says what, no, Ken, that's not what I mean. It's just that there's just more to sing here than you might realize. Yeah, he didn't say he didn't say he should have. He didn't say he should have. He didn't say he should have. It's not an indication that he should have. All he's saying is that's not. It's your choice, Clark. He's just telling him this is what's gonna happen. He never said do it. And this is one of the confusions with Man of Steel. And considering Clark had never thrown a punch. He had never thrown a punch against someone that had his exact powers and could match him. Yes, he was just telling him actions have consequences. He wasn't saying. He really was not saying ultimately leave them to die, because Clark is not. Because Podcast is not going to say that. And by the way, that is based on the comics where he says you have to be careful because they're going to be afraid of you. And guess what? BVS shows he was right. And yeah, he punched. I'm going to say, go ahead, Jay.
Quick tangent. I can actually see that League of Assassins movie I was telling you about with Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
With the antagonist being Vandal Savage. Ra's al Ghul versus Vandal Savage.
Dude, that would be great. Another reason Super's a murderer is because he notably kissed Lois Lane in one scene in the middle of the city where citizens are in dire need of help, stop wasting time, and save people. Okay, but you guys want to take this one?
Let me see. I was just editing.
The battle had calmed down to a point where he was like, okay, so take a second. Where citizens are in dire need of help. Well,
okay, a lot of that is cinematography, because Superman can really fly and cover a lot of ground in a short period of time. Not as fast as the Flashes, mind you, but he can cover a lot of ground. So a lot of that is thematic. Mm-hmm. But I get your point.
Yeah, and he said a realistic Superman versus the fantasy. Yeah, writers have always cheated with Superman, not in Man of Steel. Honestly, at this point, these debates in Man of Steel ran its course, in my opinion. Michael May, the battle had calmed down. Oh, and the Avengers didn't get the same hate for eating shawarma or joking to get shawarma after the New York battle. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. MFers are really reading into movies more than they should have. Can't have a realistic fiction and cram it into reality. And remember, these movies were supposed to show realistically what would happen if Superman existed into this universe. That's what it is. Ultimately, this is realistically what a Superman would be like. If this is ultimately what a superhero fight in the middle of New York would look like, not the way the Avengers did it, the way that Man of Steel did it. And then the part of the city had been evacuated before Superman even came back from India. Yeah, most of the city had been evacuated by that point. Yeah, I know. Obviously, trolling. I understand that. I just wanted to respond to that quickly. So where were we? Oh yeah, Superman game. So
Yeah,
I think I agree with you, Taladia. It's inevitable that now it's even more inevitable that we're going to get a Superman game. There's no reason not to have a Superman game, and honestly, have it tie into the movie.
oh no. Actually, it won't be movie tie-in game. I feel like it'll be similar to what we got with Gotham Knights, where it was in this. It's like in that universe,
Mhm.
and that it could take. Because you got to remember the Justice League are part of the Gotham Knights universe now, and it's been
Because
confirmed.
Robin can use the jail satellite to teleport. That's how he does that.
Yeah,
Hear
so
hear
it
me
makes.
out. A Deathstroke movie.
Yes. Because guess what? That was part of the Snyderverse plan. It was going to be a grounded Deathstroke movie starring Joe Manganiello. Yes, please. So anyway, I'm sorry, Talia. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say that honestly, going forward now, it's like after Gotham Knights, it's inevitable when we're gonna get this game. I think the announcement will be next year. I really do think that at this point, because next year is 85th anniversary of Superman. We're getting the announcement now for Man of Steel 2. Then we're gonna get a super. It's all adding up, two and two together. It makes sense.
And yes, Medina has the points. Oh, it's the whole theme is choice, and once again, Jor-El and Superman's father all have the same thing. It's your choice, Clark. You have to choose what type of man you want to be, and Clark keeps choosing to save people. So, by the way, so personally, I want a Superman game separate from the movies. Yeah, they could do that, and I feel like what DC should be doing. Form a game universe in addition to a movie universe with all these games. Dark and Grim. Have you read the new 52 Superman? And by the way, Henry Cavill smiles. He doesn't have to be like smiling like an idiot the whole time. And no one wants to see Superman hanging out with the homeless people and helping old ladies get their cats from trees.
And here's another thing too. Henry Cavill has already said he wants to make a hopeful Superman. He
And that was
isn't gonna. Sorry, I was gonna say he
yeah.
also said as well. It's gonna be the light-hearted Superman. So don't expect this next Man of Steel film to be like Christopher Reeves, where he's saving cats out of the trees. There is some consequence to some of the actions that he did. So
And
that's what.
yes, Christopher Reeves it does represent Superman. You
Yes,
have to
Christopher
understand
Reeves
those
does represent Superman.
those
And,
films were very cheesy, and we don't talk about number 4. We don't
and
talk
by
about,
the
we
way,
don't talk about.
read New 52 Superman. That's him. That's the Man of Steel Superman. And by the way, also the problem with comparing it to Christopher Reeves is that Christopher Reeves is not relevant anymore. And they did try and do another Christopher Reeves movie. It's called Superman Returns, and it performed well, but underperformed. That's it. That's the whole point. And by the way, yeah, I get it. I get that if you want to be a fan of Christopher Reeves, that's totally fine. But it is Superman, by the way. There have been plenty of times when Superman was a little bit not sure about his role in the world. That's what's supposed to represent. Like Superman Earth 1. Read that. That's pretty much Man of Steel. And also, the entire point of this Clark Kent is that eventually he chooses to be Superman. He doesn't simply default to some fantasy people prefer. And by the way, the whole point is Zack's plan was Man of Steel 2 was going to be the more hopeful Superman. That's it. That is his plan. And Superman was never dark in Man of Steel. It was the world he lived in that was dark. He was just reacting to the world. And Superman still went about saving people in BVS. They even showed it. Man of Steel was an origin movie where it was building up to that hopeful Superman you're dying for, but only real Superman fans and movie fans know that. Yeah, exactly. Because
if you really want a dark and edgy Superman, Injustice.
Yeah, here's the problem. The reason why I am not the biggest fan of the Christopher Reeves movies is because Superman shows up. He has the powers of a god, and the world automatically trusts him. That would not happen with a person that has the powers of and Bruce Wayne said this, powers to burn down the whole world. That would not happen. And the type of thinking that it always has to be that way. That is why people see Superman as a boring character. And he represents what Superman was before 1986. Yes, he represents the pre-crisis Superman. And Superman has not been that way since Crisis. I got news for you. And while Clark was saving a cat from a tree, the building was burning down somewhere else to save the planet. Stop wasting time and save people. Yeah, exactly. Man of Steel 2, woo, and thanks to Rock Henry's back. Superman's finally get the love and respect he deserves. Hell yeah, brother. While technically we had Dark Superman before the comics, heck, look, what's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way storyline, because that Superman has Superman fight against the elite who did kill. That's true. Overuses of the word by people like you on what the word emo means and nothing anymore. Yeah, that's not emo Superman. And that's the problem. Batman is gritty. Superman is light and happy. Now, now make them work in the same movie. Something has got to give in a realistic presentation. It's not a cartoon. And the type of Superman we saw in the movie and the Christopher Reeves will not work today. Did you guys agree with me? It will not work today.
No, but I will admit the World's Finest episode in the DCAU did set a high standard. I will admit that.
No, it did. But
think about it. It actually applying presentation and representation of how Batman and Superman clash and contradict each other, and how it was able to flow so well, and compare that to BVS. Not the ultimate edition, to an extent. It set a high precedent. And BBS wasn't able to match that magic, at least to a degree. Yeah.
And then if you don't have a choice, you're not a hero. That's the real reason why not all soldiers get the Medal of Honor. Okay. I've never understood how Smallville could get so much praise for its realistic take on Clark, but a Superman movie is supposed to completely ignore that upbringing. Yeah. Let me put it this way. The Reeves movies barely show. Let me put it this way. The Reeves movies barely showed Superman learning to be Superman. This is Clark learning to be Superman, because he's never, think about it this way, by the time you get to even the Smallville fight, he has never been in an actual fight where the other side could hurt him, and he's fight with the way that these Superman movies should be lighthearted yet serious at the same time. That's what Superman Returns did, and it failed. And that movie failed. That movie did not do well. That's the problem, dude. That's what we're saying. That version of Superman failed at the box office. It didn't get what the people want, what the executives wanted, because guess what? That type of Superman that we got in Reeves, because that was pretty much Reeves, that's done. That era is done. You can like that era more. That's totally fine. I'm just telling you why those movies went away from that. And that's why read the New 52, that's Man of Steel Superman. Reeves was a product of the Silver Age, just like Henry's a product of post-crisis and more New 52, at least sort of in my eyes, I think. Yes, it didn't do well, sadly. If that's the take on Superman, guess what? And by the way, Man of Steel did really well, more than Superman Returns. Man of Steel actually performed really well, and if you look at articles from when the movie came out, they were calling it a return to form for Superman, and this is a massive hit for Superman. So when you look at the two, which one did the audience connect with more? Man of Steel. And by the way, Man of Steel is telling the exact same story as the Christopher Reeve Superman movie. It's just doing it in a more modern way of doing it. Even with Donna, we see a Clark growing up with anxiety, confusion, and anger. Yet he later tossed on a cape and all that simply goes away. That does not respect the character. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So in a way, you could take Christopher, the Donner Superman isn't really the main Superman either. And by the way, Tyler Hoechlin's basically based on Superman Rebirth, which made me so happy. Yeah, exactly. And Zack's only following Richard Donner's advice: be creative. He's telling the same story as the Reeve Superman, exact same story. That's a fair point. Sorry if I came up like a troll. I should honestly give Man of Steel another chance. Yeah, it is really like post-credit Superman. And Michael, I don't want you to think I was coming after you. I wasn't. 100%. You're totally fine to like that. What I want you to do, rewatch those movies, but pay attention. I know that people are. See, here's the thing. People were not used to that way of telling the story, and I understand that. It is kind of jarring when you watch like Christopher Reeve Superman, but look at that, approach it like he's post-crisis Superman or New 52 Superman. And you're going to see
what nothing could be as jarring as Quest for Peace.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing. I'm like, the last Superman movie was Quest for Peace, dude. That was an insult to the character. But let's just rewatch the movie and just give it another chance and approach it like this is the post-crisis Superman. And then I think you'll like it more. And if you want, come back on the channel, comment on a video or so, tell me what you think, and I'll give you a shout out, dude. I pretty much all I pretty much remember from Superman Returns theater experience is that I bought too much candy. That's good, dude. That's good. I love that, PK. The one thing I remember is Superman's son going to Lex Luthor, "You're bald." I think Superman fans who hated Man of Steel too focus on the fantasy of a Superman, not the actual character. That is true, because here's the thing. This, again, after post-crisis, Superman turned into, this is what would realistically happen if this character existed. Again, I want to really hammer that point because we're going to wrap up in a second. That is the whole point of Man of Steel. That's a Superman origin telling the same story as Christopher Reeves. It's just doing it in a more modern context. In the same way that Reeves was modern for that time. Yes, see, exactly. It's telling the exact same story. Reeves was modern to the world when it came out. This is modern. Yes, exactly. Post-crisis. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Christopher Reeves is pre-crisis, and the post-crisis slash New 52 is Man of Steel Superman. That's what it is. That's what it is. And you know what? If you still like the Reeves Superman more power to you, brother. But at least give it another chance with that new mindset. And then exactly, and then come back on the channel, comment on the video, and I'll give you a shout out and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. And actually, my Twitter and email are right down the bottom of the screen. So, in conclusion, we had that. That was a good moment. We sort of convinced someone to give Man of Steel another shot. So you know what? If ever there was a chance to give Man of Steel another watch, now is the time. And by the way, before we wrap up, Man of Steel presents a Clark who grows up somewhat isolated from humanity. He becomes a man who is lost in the world and not understanding himself. That's the whole point of him choosing to be Superman. Yeah. And then we respect the classics, but we got to move on respectively and tip our hats when they're necessary. Yeah, that's totally fine. And then Superman, the animated series, was technically based off post-crisis Superman. Yeah, it's telling the same story too. 2 years ago, I made a comparison with your Superman 78 and Man of Steel. My ultimate verdict was that the former was a Superman movie, and the later was the former was a Superman movie, and the later was a Superman movie. In other words, this is a man having superpowers. That's great. I like that. So we're gonna wrap up. So, but remember, Michael, if ever there was a chance to rewatch Man of Steel, now is the chance, because we're getting a sequel to it. That's going to be more of, because remember, the whole plan, it was a very specific, Zack had this whole thing outlined where it was going to turn into that Superman. It's just what Zack wanted to show is that this is how long it would realistically take. He doesn't start off like that. He still has to learn how to be that experienced Superman. And because he still is ultimately going to be that Reeves Superman at the end. That's the plan. So
and remember, nothing is as bad as Quest for Peace.
Yes, we're gonna have that. We should have put that as a crime last week, dude. we'll do a
Yeah.
stream of, like the worst superhero movies, and that'll be like
Yeah.
probably number one.
And Chris is already doing that, by the way. And you check the private chat.
Mhm.
But yeah, on a level, guys. Hope you have enjoyed tonight's stream. Make sure you guys do what's it called? Make sure you guys do like, share the stream, sub to Jared, this Jared here,
Yeah,
and
me.
yeah, there's two Jareds in the chat. So
And
make
me
sure
as
we do.
well.
Yeah, and also make sure you subscribe to my page, guys, because not only will I be covering Man of Steel 2, hashtag new DC, but I will be doing Gotham Knights live stream this week. Be prepared because I'm gonna be doing that, and we're gonna try and get Jared on the channel as well.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, all we're trying to do on this on these streams is to encourage you to give these movies another shot with a new mindset of watching them. That's really it, because ultimately everything is DC. If it has the DC logo, it's a valid take on the character. Even if you don't like it, it's still that character.
And that even means Super Sons, Tevye.
It even means Super Sons. We accept Super Sons. We accept Super Sons. But and once again, stay heroic, everyone, and I will see you guys on this Saturday night at around 10:30 p.m. or so. Like, let's say whenever we get home from seeing Black Adam, we will be doing a spoilerific review of the movie. It's happening. It's going to be the four of us. It'll be Nick, Jay Heat, Talia Plays and Barry. Jay Heat is joining us as a co-host now, so you'll be seeing a lot more of him. So heck yeah, dude. On that note, everyone, stay heroic, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.